Hi guys, welcome to another video. So in this video, I'm gonna see the presentation from AMD on Gamescom 2023. So let's get started.
Welcome to the stage, Senior Vice President and General
speed up,
Manager of
things
Radeon
a little
at
bit.
AMD, responsible for all Radeon graphics, like the new RX 7000 series GPUs. Scott Herkelman.
Okay, it's gonna be interesting.
Hi, Scott. So good that you're joining us. I hope you're doing well. And I gotta ask, just straight off the bat, anything cool you've seen at Gamescom so far?
Anything cool I've seen at Gamescom? How about the League of Legends team that was right before us? And I have to ask you something. Do you think North America can beat that League of Legends team?
Ooh. Could Eintracht Spandau win the LCS, guys? That's what I thought, Scott. But
No way.
I don't think you flew over 7,000 kilometers here just to chat about League of Legends with me, right? I've heard you have some exciting news for us.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
let's
right, we
see.
do. You know, 2023 has been a massive year for new games.
I think they took too long to release these GPUs. This GPU should be out in November last year, or at max December. We are almost 10 months, actually 9 months, because it's gonna come out in September. So 9 months, 8 months to get new GPUs in the mid-range segment. Yikes, AMD is not doing such a great job, I think, this segment.
And developers continue to push the boundaries for PC experiences. And that's exactly why we built the RX 7000 series. That includes the 7900 series for gamers who play at 4K resolution, and also the 7600 series for the majority of gamers who play at 1080p resolution. However, more and more gamers are buying 1440p displays, and older GPUs struggle in these new games at this resolution. So I'm excited today to introduce two new GPUs, and let's get them running here.
Okay, let's see. Let's see these GPUs.
The first is the brand new Radeon RX 7800 XT 16 gigabyte.
What? I saw a lot of people saying that this GPU is ugly, but this is the reference mode. I think the custom modes are gonna be more appealing. I think.
And we
It
are
looks like the RX 7600.
also announcing what we call its little brother, the Radeon RX 7700 XT 12 gigabyte graphics card. Both come with DisplayPort 2.1 for brand new displays, AV1 for next-gen streaming, and of course, fast AI acceleration for the next generation of games.
Absoluter Wahnsinn.
Nice.
Die neuen
Okay,
AMD-Karten.
let's go back.
Absoluter Wahnsinn. Also, da habt ihr es. Offiziell angekündigt, die neuen AMD-Karten, die Radeon RX 7800 XT mit
Okay.
16 GB
I don't speak
GDDR6.
German, so.
Eins von beiden dürft ihr euch aussuchen. Und natürlich auch
What did they say?
DDR6. Eins von beiden dürft ihr euch aussuchen. Und natürlich auch die 7700 XT mit 12 GB. So, that's pretty awesome, Scott. And I was checking out our Benchfest earlier a little bit and got to play some games on the new cards. And I gotta say, compared to my 2060 at home, man, I'm due for an upgrade.
You're definitely due for an
Guy has a 2060.
upgrade. Upgrading your GPU is actually one of the easiest things you can do to make your system feel fast again. For example, you can see on the screen here, Versa RX 2070 Super, which is a 4-year-old GPU. The 70
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to compare the new generation to a 2070 Super because the gap would be bigger, but it's probably because they didn't want to compare with the RX 6700 XT because the games would be much lower. It would be like 10 frames, I think, or I think 10 frames at best. And they are trying to get people to upgrade. It seems so. But it's not very appealing for people who have RDNA 2 GPUs or even RTX 30 series GPUs. Just people who are a little bit behind, like RTX 20 series and RX 5000 series.
7800 XT gets you over 60 frames per second, and it's
But it seems that the RX 7700 XT is a solid card for Modern Warfare 2 because this is 1440p at max settings. So I think at medium settings should get 144 hertz FPS nicely. Which is a title that runs better on AMD, it seems.
50% faster in The Last of Us, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and is twice as fast in other games like Resident Evil 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And with Radeon Performance Technologies, you can push frame rates even higher on the Radeon RX 7800 XT with FSR 2. The Last of Us Part 1 game gets over 90 frames per second at 1440p with settings maxed out, and these cards push triple-digit frames per second, and Horizon Zero Dawn close to 200 frames per second.
Yeah, that's 200 FPS on Horizon Zero Dawn. Okay, but it has FSR on. We don't know if it is FSR quality, max quality, or balanced. So we don't have that information.
And Lies of P, a new game launching this September, also gets close to 200 frames per second.
Wow. I mean, that sounds like gamers that love to min-max FPS to the absolute extreme are right at home with their Radeon.
Yeah, that's right. And let me just show you a broader view of games. And so if you look at native performance across even more of the most popular games in the industry right now, the Radeon RX 7800 XT trades blows with the competition, which this card is $599.
Okay, let's see here. So this is a 60 plus average FPS. Native 1440p at max settings. So this is the RTX 4070 12GB versus the RX 7800 XT 16GB. So Modern Warfare, which is the game which I think a lot of people play, especially. So let's see. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has 23% more FPS. Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, so Hogwarts Legacy is a 15%. Watch Dogs Legion is 13%. Overwatch is a surprising one. But let's see. So the games they are losing more it is games with ray tracing. Ray tracing is still kind of bad, even in RDNA 3. So AMD probably will try to improve their ray tracing performance. Probably invest or add some new technology that would improve that. But now, and you guys saw in the last video, NVIDIA has DLSS 3.5, which greatly improves the visual quality or visual quality of games with ray tracing using deep learning. So even if AMD is able to improve their performance on ray tracing for the next generation, they're still gonna be behind because NVIDIA just invested more in AI and they are now capitalizing on that. So even if AMD gets better performance on ray tracing will look better on NVIDIA. Which is okay. I think AMD can get this back because the RDNA 3 does have AI accelerators, and they probably can try to do some similar thing or some technology. So you can see that games with ray tracing is mostly where AMD is losing rasterization. Even some games with ray tracing, such as Resident Evil 4, AMD is winning. And these are comparable graphics cards. You guys will understand at the end of the video. Let's continue.
From our competition, and it has more VRAM and the latest display technologies. And on the Radeon RX 7700 XT, across the same popular titles, it delivers over 60 frames per second.
But this is where things start to look interesting. So here's the RTX 4060 Ti 16GB versus the RX 7700 XT 12GB. So they're not comparing against the 8GB, and the 8GB is $400. This version is $500 from NVIDIA. And in Call of Duty, we see it 31%, which is an entire tie on NVIDIA. Okay, so I think the only card that would get a 31% faster resolution on Call of Duty from NVIDIA would be the RTX 4070 Ti, I think. Cyberpunk 26%, so that's a huge win for AMD. And the titles they're losing is just titles with ray tracing, some ray tracing titles, and it's not even that big of a loss if we guys are seeing here. Interesting.
Max settings on your 1440.
I think AMD could definitely give this. Yeah, the RX 7700 XT. I think it's looking good at the moment right now.
40p display, often besting the 4060 Ti 16 gig. And you'll be able to buy the Radeon RX 7700 XT starting at $449.
Okay, so now we have pricing information. So the RX 7700 XT is $449, and the RX 7800 XT is $499. So this is $100 less than the RTX 4070, and we saw that it was performing. Let's go back a little bit better game. So this is interesting because AMD is giving a card that is $100 less, and in some cases have better performance. I think in most games will have better performance for $100 less, which is interesting. But when we look at the RX 7700 XT, which is $449, which is between the RTX 4060 Ti 8 and 16 gigabytes, which are $400 and $500 respectively. Interesting because I think we see the benchmarks. Yeah, NVIDIA is gonna have to drop prices. I don't think people are gonna buy. Maybe they will buy because of the features from NVIDIA, which still. But if people are targeting raw performance, NVIDIA is looking like the card to buy. And if you play COD or games that benefit more on AMD, I think it's not even a question. I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This is at 1440p. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Wow.
Interesting so far.
Für uns in Europa sind das dann natürlich für die RX 7700 XT die 489 € und für die 7800 XT die 549.
For those of you in the audience today that have been able to experience these new GPUs firsthand at the back of the auditorium, are some of your results now live on screen on the 7800 XT across 6 games. But don't just take our word for it.
Okay, so the RX 7800 XT has 138 FPS on Modern Warfare 2. Okay, this is at max setting, so it is pretty much a solid 1440p card, and for $500, I think it's good overall. I think AMD did get it right. We're still gonna have to wait for reviews when these cards are released. But so far, it looks good. It is interesting because AMD started very bad with their name. They have 3 cards with the RX 700 name on it. But for people who are trying to get a 1440p GPU, it is looking very interesting.
Check out Ben.
And it's 1440p high refresh rate, by the way.
Benchfest, it's right behind you, all of you in the audience right now. You can go ahead and play the latest games on the RX 7800 XT and experience the smoothness for yourself.
Ja, absolut. Also drüben in unserer Benchfest-Halle, da könnt ihr alles Mögliche an neuen Spielen ausprobieren, aber auch für die etwas mehr Stat- und Technikorientierten. Ihr könnt euch mehrere Benchmarks mit diesen neuen Karten direkt selber angucken. So. Ein anderes Ding, was ich glaube ich noch ankündigen muss, ist, nennen wir ihn jetzt Santa Johnny oder Nikolaus Johnny, aber da war so ein großer Sack voll mit Grafikkarten. Wenn wir hier durchgehen.
It's Frank, right? It's Frank is gonna come.
Wenn wir hier durch sind, dann, wenn ihr gut Frisbees fangen könnt, dann habt ihr vielleicht Glück, ein oder andere davon mitnehmen zu können. But first, Scott, we'll chat again a little bit later, but first, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, The cards already are pretty exciting, but I do want to welcome another special guest to the stage from AMD. And he's going to give us some updates on FSR and AMD software. So please welcome to the stage Chief Architect of Gaming Solutions and Marketing at AMD, Frank Azor.
Hey, Lippy.
Hey, Frank. So good that you can join us today. Ready to take those new cards on Overwatch 2 for a
Oh,
spin?
absolutely. Absolutely. They're amazing. You guys are going to love the performance of them.
Hell yeah.
They
And
do. Let's
you
see.
probably checked out some of the games new at Gamescom. Anything that kind of struck your fancy? Anything that you're looking forward to?
Who's looking forward to Starfield? Come on, right? Yeah. And I'm kind of excited about City Skyline 2. I've put a lot of hours into part 1. I've been waiting for it for a few years, so really excited about that too.
Hell yeah. Yeah, a little bit of chill gaming. That's
I'm going to need
lovely.
like a 4-week vacation when it comes out in October.
I can feel that, definitely. But we want to talk about some software, right? Because AMD announced RDNA 3 quite a while ago, and you also announced some interesting software features with that. And quite honestly, I think a few updates on that would be very exciting.
Well, first of all, what you need to know about the AMD Adrenalin software
Where's FSR 3, right? Where's FSR 3?
is it comes with all your Radeon graphics cards, and it's the driver, it's the software, it's all in one location for you. You don't have to deal with different UIs or anything. It's all unified and simplified. It also lets you monitor the performance of your card. It even lets you overclock your card without having to use any third-party software. And there's no account registration required for AMD Adrenalin.
Shots fired at NVIDIA. You need to have an account on GeForce or NVIDIA to be able to use the software, which is annoying. Yeah, that's not...
No name, no email, none of that crap, all right? And we're going to keep it that way for you. So we've been constantly adding more and more performance-enhancing features to the AMD Adrenalin software. Recently, we added Anti-Lag Plus, brand new feature to reduce your lag.
So this was announced, I think, in the launch of the RDNA 3 GPUs last year. But so far, I don't think we've seen this is the combination of multiple technologies. I mean, AMD Radeon Boost, AMD Radeon Anti-Lag, and AMD Radeon Super Resolution to create this AMD Hyper RX, which is something it should combine those multiple technologies to improve FPS and input lag.
Radeon Super Resolution as well, which is our in-driver upscaler, which works with pretty much any game that's out there.
So this is the driver, okay.
DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 gives you massive performance improvements. And we have Radeon Boost as well, which gives you huge performance improvements.
I'm going to be honest with you, that does sound a bit complicated.
I know.
How do we manage that?
Yeah, so we realize that. So a lot of different features. Some of you are probably like, never heard of this stuff. And it gets a little complicated. So what we've done is we announced a feature called Hyper RX. All right, and Hyper RX gets all these features, Radeon Super Resolution, Anti-Lag Plus, Radeon Boost, all of them working together for you, and it turns them on for you in all the games that we've profiled out there. So it's basically an easy button. You just turn on Hyper RX and everything works for you, everything turns on for you. Now you're probably wondering, okay, like how much performance can Hyper RX actually contribute to your games? Check these charts out. I mean, look at the kind of performance uplift that you're getting in Fortnite. Almost a 50% performance improvement in Fortnite when you turn on Hyper RX. And it's not just frames per second. Your latency significantly reduces as well. Look at these latency differences when you turn on Hyper RX.
Okay, so we see that on Fortnite, you got from 55 to 25 milliseconds, and in Apex Legends for 17 to 10 milliseconds. Okay, this is good actually. This is good. It's very similar to NVIDIA Reflex, so it's not groundbreaking, but it's good that AMD has this technology that competes with NVIDIA.
Das sieht auch vor allem für E-Sports Interessierte verdammt gut aus. Weniger Latency, mehr FPS, absolut klasse.
So you guys have been waiting for HyperRX since the RDNA 3 launch, since the 7900 XTX launch, right? I know it took us a little longer than we originally planned, but it's going to be worth it, and it's coming to you in just a few weeks. In early September, you're going to get the driver drop, and it's going to work on your Radeon cards.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
awesome. But I do want to keep digging on some of the updates and news on software, so I'm just straight up going to ask, when is FSR 3 coming out?
You guys want an update on FSR 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the most replied comments I've been getting on social media is, where the heck is FSR 3? So we've got a great update for you today on FSR 3. So first of all, what FSR 3 is, in case you're not sure, is it's obviously the follow-on to FSR 2, our upscaler and our performance enhancer that integrates into games. But FSR 3 adds our fluid motion frames technology. And what that does is it literally generates frames for you in your game, which can double and in some cases triple.
Do you guys remember when NVIDIA launched the DLSS 3? People were calling fake frames. Do you guys remember that? Everybody was saying that NVIDIA was adding fake frames to your games. But, and I think a lot of the criticism of DLSS 3 was mainly because it's locked on ADA. So if you have a RTX 20 or 30 series, you can't not use DLSS 3 on those cards with frame generation. But now that NVIDIA is doing FSR 3, which they announced for a lot of time ago, and it's gonna work well, I think, on a lot of GPUs. But let's continue watching. I'm gonna add some thoughts on that later.
Triple your frame rate. And when you pair it with Anti-Lag Plus, it significantly reduces your latency as well. It's pretty incredible what the team has been able to accomplish with FSR 3. So, a couple other things you should know. It's still going to be open. It's going to work on Radeon 7000 series cards, Radeon 6000 series cards, and even older cards. How's that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Doubling and tripling your frame rate on
the fact that it works for multiple generations and multiple brands of GPUs, it's a plus for developers to take the time to implement in the game. For example, frame generation, it's a nice feature in games with NVIDIA technology, but I don't think developers would be as willing to put time and effort into adding frame generation for just a handful of people to be able to take advantage of that feature, because they have to think about the time they spend working on that.
Any card that can run it, basically. Okay, but we didn't stop there. It's Fidelity Effect Super Resolution. And AMD cares about all gamers. So we enabled FSR 3 not just to work on Radeon graphics cards, to work on any graphics card.
Nice.
And our engineers didn't stop there.
Okay,
it doesn't
there's
just work
more.
on any PC
There's
graphics
more.
card. It even works on consoles like the Microsoft Xbox.
Okay, he said it works on Xbox.
Everybody should get the benefit
I think this is
of
good that
frame
it works on
generation of
Xbox.
fluid motion frames. It shouldn't be reserved just for the small select few of people that can buy the latest generation graphics card. That's not right for gamers.
That sounds amazing.
He's
So
throwing shots at NVIDIA.
when can we get our hands on FSR 3?
Oh, I forgot to say that. Who wants to know when you're going to get your hands on FSR 3?
Okay, let's see.
So, first of all, let me show you FSR 3 in action. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is FSR 3 in Forspoken. This is their brand new DLC.
No. Why are they adding FSR 3 in a game that nobody plays, right? They could have added, and let's say, they could have chosen, I think The Last of Us would be an interesting title to have FSR 3. But why are they choosing a game that nobody plays?
Okay, and it's running here. You can see the kind of performance improvement that we're delivering with FSR3, nearly triple.
So from 36 to 122 FPS, which is almost quadrupling the FPS, which is interesting. It combines both. It's pretty much DLSS 3, which combines temporal and spatial super resolution, right?
Triple the performance improvement when you turn this feature on.
This is good.
Any of you guys checked out Immortals of Avium? Just came out. We've got FSR3 integrated into Immortals of Avium as well. And you can expect...
This is that game that people were having trouble playing right now, right? It's a game that it's actually taking on a heavy toll on GPUs, it seems.
Both Forspoken and Immortals of Avium patches coming out early fall. Just a few more weeks ahead, you're going to see these patches come out, and you'll be able to take advantage of these massive frame rate gains. But we didn't stop there. You probably want it in more than just 2 games, right?
I've been looking at the new Cyberpunk expansion, Phantom Liberty, and
you want FSR3 in it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Space Marine
you got
as
it.
well?
FSR3 for you. You got it.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Okay.
So we've already got a bunch of games coming out with committed support for FSR3. So just check the screen behind me. Over 12 games have already committed to integrating FSR3 in it. And beyond these 12 games, we've got a bunch of game developers as well, including Unreal Engine is going to put a plugin in Unreal Engine for FSR3. And once
this is a little bit worrying that Unreal Engine 5 is going to use FSR3 because, as we've seen, games are not running well, right? They're not running well. We see that a lot of games that are made on Unreal Engine 5 are really they are really taking... I don't know if the games are optimized or if the games just are really more complicated and they do take more resources, but that doesn't translate with better visuals, because it may be that the developers are saving time developing these games. I think that's the main takeaway from Unreal Engine 5 is that it takes less time to develop, but the downside is that the game is less optimized.
Once you do that, you're going to get an absolute...
So we just saw a list, we're just seeing a list of developers. It's not games, but I would like to see games. So I don't know, I only know here CD Projekt Red, maybe Ubisoft, Square Enix, Sega. There's other studios I do not recognize, and there's also the Unreal Engine.
A ton of games that are going to be integrating FSR3. So expect FSR3 support to grow very rapidly from here, just like FSR1 and FSR2 did.
Yeah, it should be used more. Because FSR3 works on a wide variety of GPUs, I think developers have the incentive to add to the games because it's less work. But FSR3 and DLSS 3 works in a very similar way. But it's going to be interesting to see how this will play out.
I think we're already through all the software stuff, right?
Almost.
Almost?
One surprise.
Okay. Oh, you got more?
Oh, yeah, I got one surprise for everybody.
Let's see.
So
let's see.
FSR3 is pretty cool, obviously, right? But so we're going to put it in 10, 15, 20, 50 games. You know, our competitor has their frame generation in like 50 games or so. Wouldn't you like fluid motion frames in thousands of games?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
How about every DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 game you play, we can double and triple your frame rate. Wouldn't you like that?
Wow, that's huge, guys. That's huge. Okay, so he's saying that FSR3 is going to work on all DirectX 11 and all DirectX 12 games. Maybe only with AMD, it seems, because that's on a driver level. It's not on the game level. The game level. So it's gonna be pretty much there are HyperRX technology, super resolution for all games, but because it's on a driver level, which props to the Iridium engineering team, and they are doing Really, really good stuff. I don't think a lot of people give enough credit to the Radeon team that worked on FSR 2. FSR 1 looks like FSR 1 looks like something that could be done using just some sort of algorithm and not using deep learning, which is way more complex and way easier, in quotes, to do than just write a function the technology itself to do upscaling. FSR 2 changed that because FSR 2 is way better than FSR 1, and it does not use, at least they say that it does not use machine learning to accomplish that. And they are able to do FSR 3 with working on a driver level. Yeah, very interesting because it seems that AMD is able to accomplish a lot with their engineering team in some regards, but I don't think you can get away with writing this kind of technology without deep learning. I think they are gonna eventually have to migrate to using deep learning to do this. But probably I think this is the F's of what they can achieve with this kind of engineering. But FSR 3 being available for pretty much any game that was ever launched, pretty awesome. And let's expect that some emulators can add this. RPSS 3 and Xena having this, which would double the frame rate. So they have FSR, but I think it's gonna be good, especially for emulation. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, we would too. So we asked our engineers if they can figure out a magical way of doing that, because nobody's been able to do it. Every frame generation technology right now requires integration into the game, and that limits how many games you can launch out there with frame generation. But the engineers at AMD are pretty special. And they figured out a way to put fluid motion frames into HyperRX. And that means pretty much any DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 game running the AMD Adrenalin HyperRX software is going to get the benefit.
Man, this is interesting. So Lies of Pi from 73 to 178 FPS. It's double.
It's a fluid motion frames, frame interpolation and generation.
Awesome.
So it's already working. We've got it working in our labs. It looks absolutely incredible. It's going to be launching to the public by Q1.
I think this is going to be the feature for mid-range cards. If you are on an RTX 4090 and beyond, I don't think this feature would be relevant. But for people who are running mid-range cards from AMD specifically, this is gonna be huge, especially for older titles. You're gonna pretty much double your I wanna see this in action. I really wanna see this in action.
So just a few more months ahead. By Q1, we'll be introducing that in the Adrenalin driver with HyperRX. And
Q1?
stay tuned.
So Q1 2024?
By Q1, we'll be introducing.
Q1, right? Okay, so it's gonna take a while. So 5 more months? Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
Introducing that in the Adrenalin driver with HyperRX. And stay tuned to AMD News to learn more about it. All right, guys, that's gonna be unbelievable. There's no other solution out there like it. You're gonna get massive frame rate improvements with fluid motion frames.
Fantastic. Awesome. Okay. I have some more things in mind that we can chat about, but I'd invite Scott back on the stage for that.
Yeah, let's see what's going on.
So, new cards, fantastic. Fluid motion, frames, and tech, amazing. But we got to talk about Starfield, right? We got to talk about the biggest game of the year. How good are the cards on Starfield?
Well, what's been great is we've been working with our friends at Bethesda now for many, many months, optimizing Starfield, not only across AMD Radeon GPUs, but AMD Ryzen CPUs. And I can't tell you the scores yet, but what I would tell you is that these cards are able to run Starfield exceptionally smooth at 1440p.
Okay.
But who wants a free copy of Starfield? Ah, that's right. So, for a limited time, if you buy a Radeon 6000 or 7000 series graphics card, you get a free copy of Starfield with it. So if you're thinking about buying a graphics card, do it now. All right, that's an expensive game, and you're going to get a free copy of Starfield with any 6000 or 7000 series Radeon purchase. So I think now's the time to buy.
Hell yeah. Also, falls ihr euch eine neue Grafikkarte zulegen wollt, dann kriegt ihr mit jeder neuen 7700 XT und natürlich auch der 7800 XT und für kurze Zeit auch bei ausgewählten 6000er Series Grafikkarten eine Gratiskopie von Starfield. Man, that's exciting.
That's a lot, right? That's a lot of good news.
But I'll be honest with you. If everyone wants to play Starfield on these new cards, we kind of need to know when they're coming out, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's the great news. Cards will be available starting on September 6th, the same day Starfield launches. And I'm excited for you to get a hand either when you're buying a PC pre-configured.
So Asus, ASRock, BioStar, Gigabyte, Power Color, Sapphire, XFX. The cards from FXX, some of those cards look really good.
Or from our AIB partners, September 6th.
Okay, nice. Same
That's
day as
amazing.
Starfield.
Hell yeah.
Okay, guys, so this is pretty much the presentation from AMD on Gamescom. We got 2 new graphics cards, and we finally got announcement and more information on FSR 3. So my biggest takeaway from this is gonna be definitely their RX 7800 XT for $500, which is gonna be probably faster than the RTX 4070. Costing $100 less, and we know that this is gonna drop. The price of this card is gonna drop probably for another $50. That would be ideal. So the RX 7700 XT for $400, being faster than RTX 460 Ti. And the same price, because the market will probably correct the prices of these GPUs. AMD saw this, so they try to price a little bit down, but yeah, it's not that bad, I think, but it depends on the performance. If the performance 10 to 20% faster than the respective price point that NVIDIA has, this is good. I think FSR 3 with fluid frames motion. Let's call fluid motion, okay? Fluid motion frames, I don't remember. But the FSR 3 with frame generation working on a driver level, which would give that technology for every title pretty much on PC, because I think the majority of games on PC are DX 11 and 12. There's a portion that is DX 9, but this titles you can pretty much run really well DX 9 titles on PC if you're not CPU bottlenecked. But it's gonna give the option for a lot of people to play older games with way better performance, which is gonna be interesting. And with the new titles with FSR 3, people who are NVIDIA users, which I think this is one interesting catch, people who are using NVIDIA with RTX 20 or 30 series don't need to upgrade if a game has FSR 3, because it's pretty much do the same thing as FSR. It's one way in which AMD is trying to undercut NVIDIA, which is giving the technology for people. I think it's such a cool technology. I think, and a lot of GTX users, I think, usually will draw a little bit. We'll have some appreciation for AMD because, yeah, we thanks to AMD and Intel, we have the option for these upscalers on newer games, and we don't need to upgrade for pretty much that reason, but that's other reason that I think is gonna be interesting. So that's pretty much the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. So thank you for watching this video. See you guys in the next one.